like we said, it's 2 days in a row for most folks, so it's asking a lot.
All right. Good morning,
Good
Northwest.
morning.
It is important that you showed up here today. Gathering in community is an act of solidarity in times of isolation and hopelessness. Here, together in our collective church community, may we take a moment to take a breath together as we settle into this space. Please join in whatever way is comfortable for you. Hymn 101, Abide with Me.
Abide with me, fast falls eventide. The darkness deepens, still with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Swift to its close, ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all around I see. Oh, thou who changest not, abide with me. I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where great thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me.
Are Unitarian Universalists, a faith that is spiritually alive, value-centered, and radically inclusive. We begin each service by kindling a flaming chalice. Those who came before us lit this flame as a beacon of welcoming to those needing a place of sanctuary and belonging. We strive to continue that legacy today. We kindle our flame with the words from Deanna Van Diver. As we light a chalice, a container of air, earth, and fire, this ritual of our faith reminds our subtle and crashing about beings that we are part of a collective, a community of care and connection, courage and questions, scared and sacred together. Today we gather with intention and creativity, releasing what we must, shaping what we will, in a space made possible by generations of community care and the courage of connection. You can find some of the ways our community works for love and justice in the back of your order of service. A few highlights are, next Saturday we are having a regional picnic on September 20th at Belle Isle. So come and meet UUs from congregations all over southeastern Michigan. Our first Parents' Night will be October 1st. Bring the kids by Northwest for dinner and make connections with other parents. More details can be found on the back of your order of service.
That is good stuff to know, Diana, but the most important thing to know is that no matter who you are,
What you believe or who you love,
where you're from, or what identities you hold,
with all of your joys and gifts,
with all your pain and history,
You are welcome and wanted here.
Let us enter into a time outside the daily demands of life. I invite you to center yourself and sink into the spirit with the power of music.
Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, Northwest.
Morning.
My name is Eva Leventer, and I'm the Director of Religious Education for Northwest and for First 2U. And this morning, I would like the children to come up, and if you have a joy or sorrow, I'd love for you to share it with the congregation. And the children can come up and sit in the front for the story today.
My joy is I'm going swimming with Hannah and Jake today to the lake after this meeting or something.
Wonderful. Did you have Joy? Aaron, did you have something? Okay, you guys want to sit down? Now we are going to have a story read by Jim Moyer.
Yes, because Eva's throat was not in good shape last night, so. This story is by John Muth, and he's a Unitarian Universalist, lives in New York, and he has about 8 different books with these characters in it that tell you about different concepts of Buddhism. So today's story is called Addie's Cup of Sugar. Addie and her pet kitten were best friends. They did everything together. And when he was very young, his meow sounded like the tooting of a tiny brass horn. Addie named him Trumpet. They woke up together every day. Trumpet sat on the covers and wouldn't move until Addie got out of bed. When Trumpet was with her, her world was brighter and warmer. But one day, shortly after they moved into their new neighborhood, it happened. Trumpet was hit by a car. Addie was very sad. Trumpet couldn't be gone. This couldn't be happening. There must be something she could do. Then Addie remembered her friend Stillwater. He knew a lot about how to help people. He would know how to bring Trumpet back again. Addie ran to find him. Stillwater, Stillwater, Addie cried out. You have to help make Trumpet alive again. Please make him come back. Oh, Addie, Stillwater said softly, I am so sorry. Perhaps we can find the medicine you need. But first, you will need all the right ingredients. You must go around the neighborhood and find someone to give you a cup of sugar. Stillwater handed Abby an empty cup. Fill this cup with sugar and bring it to me so we can mix it into the right medicine. But the most important thing of all is the sugar must be from a home where death is a stranger. Addie hurried outside. She ran as fast as she could to the nearest house. Emma, who was visiting her grandmother, answered the door. Do you have a cup of sugar I could have? Yes, I'm sure I do, Emma said. Oh, good. Stillwater needs it for special medicine. Then Addie remembered. Does anybody in your family know someone who has died? My grandpa died last year. Oh, said Addie, unsure of what to say next. I'm sorry about your grandpa, but the sugar for this medicine must be from a home where no one has died. I'm sorry to bother you, she said. Addie ran through the backyards and beneath the laundry that hung on clotheslines. The linen sheets that brushed against her skin felt like Trumpet's rough tongue. She never knew what a cat's tongue felt like until she met Trumpet. Addie went to another house and knocked. She was surprised when her school librarian answered the door. Please, I'm helping my friend Stillwater make a special medicine. I need to find a cup of sugar, but it must be from a home where no one has died. I'm sorry, said the librarian quietly. Last week, our dear old dog Gracie died in her sleep. I wish I could be more help. Oh, said Addie, as quiet as the librarian. That's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry about your Gracie. Addie ran from neighbor to neighbor, looking for a cup of sugar from a home where death was a stranger, but she couldn't find a single one. Each person had at one time or another lost someone who was dear to them. Knowing she had to hurry, Addie scampered across the yard through some bushes between the trees. A rabbit watched her run past, the pupils in his eyes growing so very large. It was like when Trumpet would sit very still and watch and wait, and then he would pounce. Ouch! Addie's pants leg caught on a sticker bush. A sharp thorn broke the skin on her knee. She sat down and unhooked the thorn. I'm sorry, Trumpet. I am trying to help you as quickly as I can. Addie thought about all the people she had met today. When she looked at their faces, she knew how each of them had felt. And while she was still very sad, she did not feel quite so alone. She thought of Trumpet, of how he chased dragonflies in the yard, how she would find him curled up asleep in the funniest places, how his little pink toes felt so soft, how he would purr and rub his chin against her cheek while she lay in the grass looking at the clouds. Now she felt tears come. The light was chasing the end of the day. After a long moment watching the sky, Addie stood and began to run. Stillwater was waiting for her on the porch. I still have no sugar. Everyone I met today has lost someone they love. But I understand now. The medicine was for me, wasn't it? Stillwater smiled, a beautiful, sad smile. How will I ever stop being sad about Trumpet? Stillwater held Addie close. You may always be sad about him. Only time can make the hurt less. And while you can't see him the way you once did, he is not really gone away. He is in your heart, and he always will be. And that's our story.
So, we have a cup. Do you guys think you can fill it with sugar? Do you think so? You have to find someone who hasn't lost anybody. You think you could do that? Sure. What did you think of the story?
It was good, but also sad.
It was sad. Yeah. Yeah. Have you lost a pet before? Any of you? No? You lost your dog? Yeah. And your grandma? Mm-hmm. Your great grandma? Mm-hmm. Was the story comforting to you a little bit about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go to our classes. We have 3 different groups this year. We have the nursery, babies through kindergarten. We have the elementary. In Maple, if you want to go with the elementary, you can, or you can go to the nursery if you want to play there. You want to go with your sister? Okay. And then we have elementary 1st through 5th, and then we have crossing paths 6th through 9th in room D. So kindergarten, go to the nursery, 1st through 5th, go to multi-purpose room, and the oldest ones, 6 through 9, go to room D. And who wants to carry our flame today? You want to? Okay. So we will stand and sing our children out.
the morning sun rises and sings to the universe. Who we are, each child that's born. The morning sun rises and sings to the universe. Who we are grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandmother's teachings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of God.
Each month, we share our plate with a community partner. This month, that partner is Southfield Human Services, their Emergency Needs Fund, which strives to offer services and opportunities to promote personal growth, independence, dignity, and respect for the citizens of Southfield. Together, our generosity multiplies. All undesignated donations will be split between Southfield Human Services and our congregation. A link to give virtually is posted in the Zoom chat. Our reading this morning is Perhaps the World Ends Here by Joy Harjo. The world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. We chase chickens or dogs away from it. Babies teethe at the corners. They scrape their knees under it. It is here that children are given instructions on what it means to be human. We make men at it. We make women. At this table, we gossip. We call enemies and ghosts of lovers. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves as we put ourselves back together once again at the table. This table has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. Wars have begun and ended at this table. It is a place to hide in the shadow of terror, a place to celebrate the terrible victory. We have given birth on this table and have prepared our parents for burial here. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. Perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing and crying, eating the last sweet bite. Please join in singing our next hymn, 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song, in whatever ways you are comfortable.
Life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the war of pain, and there's a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? For though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth it liveth. For though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon pile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
It's been a week, huh? It's been a bit since I feel like I've been pulled in so many directions emotionally as the week has gone on. And I found it pretty impossible to not reflect on tragedy and grief after everything that's happened the last several days. And I have been deeply reflecting, which is great for the pulpit, not so great for my sleep schedule. And it almost feels lucky that we was already scheduled to talk about grief, but maybe that's because grief is an evergreen subject. It's part of the human condition. Who knows those typical 5 stages of grief? Anybody? Shout them out a little bit. A little bit. Anger, bargaining, acceptance, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And these are a great framework, I think. And I think they are decently good psychology. Maybe they don't go deep enough, but they do allow us a bit of a toolbox to talk about our grief. And I don't want to talk about psychology today. I don't want to talk about clinical grief today. I don't think that the tools that psychology and social sciences give us are strong enough to deal with what we're experiencing right now. When we talk to our counselors or our clergy about grief, it is often spurred because we've suffered a very personal loss. Not always, but often. The stages of grief are a great framework to help people understand what they're feeling and why they're feeling it in a time where everything is chaos. How do you address, though, a grief that is beyond the individual, a community grief, a global grief? It is daunting, and it's so immense, and it feels dangerous and painful, and I know that I'm not alone when I feel like I need to put up some barriers and boundaries against it. This is not a grief that I am equipped to handle, but there is also something that I feel is very true. I need to be able to handle it. We need to be able to handle it. So I went looking. I did what I always do. I go and look for someone smarter than me who's been thinking about it longer than me to tell me what they think. And I found two very strange sources. One is very old and one is newer, but both were written from a time that felt very unstable and very apocalyptic. Who has heard of Evagrius of Pontus? Anybody? No Evagrius heads here? No? All right. In the 4th century, there was a movement of Christians that, to better prepare themselves for the end of society, which they knew was happening, they couldn't be in society. They couldn't be near those pagan Romans with all of their debauchery. They couldn't be with all that empire, all that sin. So they removed themselves from society and they went out into the desert to live a life that was very hard, but a life that was dedicated to contemplation on their theology. They were led by what they call the Desert Fathers, and thankfully recently people are doing research on the Desert Mothers, of which there were many. These people were great thinkers and theologians, and often they lived hermitic lives or lives in very small, very sparse groups. It was a life that was punctuated by deep reflection and ritual. And at the time, there was this philosophy called penthos, or compunction. And it was often combined with dona lacrimarum, or the gift of tears. And oddly enough, if you've studied Buddhism, there's something very similar to penthos. It's called hiri ottappa. Hiri meaning public shame, and ottappa being the fear of public wrongdoing. And both of these practices had similar goals: the stripping down of the self, leaving nothing between you and the divine. Now, I am not going to talk about hiri ottappa because I am not a Buddhist scholar. I'm going to talk about penthos. So penthos, compunction, like I said, is the removing of all the barriers between yourself and God, usually by means of confession to an elder or someone else, and living in the community. The practice of exposing your failures of self to the public or an elder seems pretty archaic, not really our style, and I'm really not up here advocating for that part. I don't think shame is a useful tool. And I know I've talked about sin up here before, so I'm not here to talk about sin either. And because these practices are very dependent on their context. But I believe we can glean something from this idea that there has to be this breaking open of the self. Back to my guy Evagrius. I bring him up because he is one of the most prolific thinkers of a contemplative life. Through a stark life, these early Christians were seeking a communion with the divine, and Evagrius was of the conclusion that, quote, there is nothing in the divine nature or in the created order arising from that divine nature that could possibly stand in the way of this union, so any obstruction is to be found on the part of the one who prays. Meaning, the blockage is not from the love of the universe. The blockage is in us. And so part of this process was the compunction, or the piercing. One had to bare their chests and allow the piercing of the heart, to burst it open and allow everything else to fall away. Often when someone dies in our life or leaves our life, we are instinctively moved to begin reflecting on our own life. This is that. This is the start of that. A reflection of the self, of where it stands in the universe, and where we have not lived our life in ways that align with our values. Not shame. I'm not asking you to fill yourselves up with shame. We get enough of that. What I'm asking is for you to allow yourself to dive deep into the self. It was in these moments that these desert mystics would allow the dona lacrimarum, the gift of tears. They saw this deep weeping as a gift from God. They were nothing to be ashamed about. They were cleansing. It wasn't something you actively sought out. You didn't go, I'm going to go find the gift of tears. I'm going to go get it. It was rather when it came to you, notice it and be thankful for it. It was then that you could put your ego to the side and put your trust in something other than the self. We started today with the hymn, Abide with Me. What is abiding with you? Now, I've grown up in the Midwest my entire life, and my family is decidedly Midwest. Maybe a little bit more emotionally intelligent than other families, but not too much. We don't wear our hearts on our sleeves very much. We're not too buttoned up, like we're not like East Coast, very buttoned up, straight tie, but we aren't going to sit there and talk about our feelings. We are going to go, well, that was that, brush it off and move on. And even within my family, I see so many examples of grief, of mourning, and when I was reading through Penthos, all I could think about was my mom, Carol. A couple years ago, we lost my grandma Ruth, my mom's mom. My grandma was a devout Catholic, so of course we had a showing, of course we had a funeral. But Grandma Ruth died at home in hospice. My mom has always been rather steady, and she doesn't wear too many emotions on her sleeve, and when she is upset, you don't really know it, but I do, because she starts organizing everything. She starts making sure everything's in place, and she's keeping herself busy, and she has to make sure she knows what's going on. So as my grandmother was passing away, surrounded by us in her home, my mom, who is a lifelong nurse, was of course the one talking to the hospice nurse, talking very plainly about what was happening. They're both nurses. There was a language that they could have together. My mom was making sure everyone was in place as everyone else was falling apart, very rightfully so. My aunts pulled me aside. This is their sister. My aunts pulled me aside and said, is your mom okay? I watched her for a moment, bustling around, talking to the nurse, making phone calls, and I went, yeah, she's fine. Because what I know about my mom is that when she grieves, it will be on her time with the situation that she wants. But something that did surprise me was that I had to travel home, and I traveled back up for the showing. So I arrived maybe about an hour into it, and my mom's up by the casket. She's talking to family and friends, and of course, directing the flow of traffic, making sure people know that sandwiches are in the back room, that this is the time that things are gonna happen, everything like that. And I walk up and I tap her shoulder. She turns around, gasps, and throws her arms around my neck and says, oh, you're here. And I went, okay, yeah. My mom doesn't show affection in that sort of way. But something that occurred to me was, this is her moment of trusting something else. This is her moment going, I can put it elsewhere, because she trusted our little household to hold her in the way that she needs to be held. Now, was she ready for the Dono Lacrimarum? No. She would cry on her own time. This was not that moment, but I realized why I was hesitating to bring this idea of penthos to you is because the idea of the penthos idea is that you put your trust in God. And I went, I can't tell these people to put their trust in God. And my mom does put her trust in God. She's a devout Catholic. But she also put her trust in us, in people that she loved, in people that knew her. This is not a practice closed to anyone. It can be God, it can be other people, it can be science, but there has to be something else besides yourself. Because breaking open is an arduous task. It is difficult for me to ask you to do this, to purify ourselves in the most loving way, just so that we can receive everything the world is handing us right now. Evagrius knew that any disconnect we felt from the world wasn't on the divine side, it was on ours. And I do agree with that. The world is crying out for solidarity in its grief, and the block to engage with that, to submit to that, is coming from my own heart, my own resistance to open up, my own resistance to the gift of tears. To recognize the weeping as a gift can be kind of tough when those tears happen in the line at the bank, or when you're trying to tell your partner something, or when you're so angry you can't speak. It's hard to think of it as a gift, but they are. We need to do this, and not just for our own souls, our own hearts and bodies. And this brings me to my more modern source. Who would be thinking I'd be talking about a Desert Father and Judith Butler in the same service, but I've managed to do it. Judith Butler wrote about grief after 9/11 in 2001, as the country mourned as our government gleefully went to war as retribution for violence done. Their essay, Violence, Mourning, and Politics, they explore what it means to grieve as a humanity and explore who can be grieved. They write, the question that preoccupies me in the light of recent global violence is, who counts as human? Whose lives count as lives? And finally, what makes for a grievable life? Despite our differences in location and history, my guess, they say, is it is possible to appeal to a we. For all of us have some notion of what it is to have lost somebody. Loss has made a tenuous we of us all. Sugar cannot be gathered at our houses. Butler brings the practice of individual greeting out of the solitary because they see that since we are all connected by the experience of loss, our loss is connected to all loss, not just ourselves. That means another loss is our loss. It is connected through us through the web of being, that our connections often shake us free from the self, that it shakes our perception of autonomy and control. Let's face it, they say, we're undone by each other. If we're not, we're missing something. The society of Evagrius and of Butler were both societies that felt like their fates were out of their control and were suffering a world of incredible violence that they couldn't, as individuals, stop. We are living in a world so very similar. Butler writes again, mourning, fear, anxiety, rage. In the United States, we've been surrounded with violence, having perpetrated it and perpetrating it still, having suffered it, living in fear of it, planning more of it, if not an open future of infinite war in the name of a war on terrorism. Violence is surely a touch of the worst order, a way a primary human vulnerability to other humans is exposed in its most terrifying way, a way which we are given over without control to the will of another, a way in which life itself can be expunged by the willful action of another. To the extent that we commit violence, we are acting on another, putting the other at risk, causing the other damage, threatening to expunge the other. In a way, we all live with this particular vulnerability, a vulnerability to the other that is part of bodily life, a vulnerability to a sudden address from elsewhere that we cannot preempt. Let me do a little translating of Butler for you. What I hear from Butler here is that vulnerability in a time of violence can feel dangerous. Violence and death from violence exposes the ways we are all vulnerable. Can we really be blamed by wanting to close up and tuck our vulnerability away? I think both of these thinkers, though separated by centuries, would agree that we cannot. We cannot block ourselves to the limit of ourselves from the collective, Butler, or the divine, Evagrius. The practice of allowing ourselves to be punctured with the world, to cleanse ourselves with tears, and to submit ourselves to the connection of our loss with all loss. All loss with us is needed. We're often told who can grieve. So Butler's ask of what makes a grievable life rings as true today as it did in 2001. We are told you must grieve in this way for X, and if you grieve for Y, you will offend people. Grieve the losses in New York City, but please don't bring the losses up in the Middle East. That's offensive. No obituaries or memorials for Gaza. You might upset people. It is upsetting to be reminded of our vulnerability. But in our battle in this country against empathy and grace, we have also made it uncomfortable to be reminded of our connections with each other, to be reminded that we are connected, divinely so. It is deep in so many of us. If you weep and beat your chest, no one will take you seriously. They will stop listening and wait for you to be less emotional. What could it be like if we wailed, if we beat our chests? If we exposed our heart, allowed the gift of tears to enter and flow through us? What if we invited people into this grief with us? If we said, I know it hurts, let us hurt together and never hurt alone again. This week has been complicated for me as I figure out my grief. We have a memorial to the violence done against us from the outside world and breaking news of even more homegrown violence. Lives have been lost, and I don't want to tell you how to grieve them. Because how do you grieve in an apocalypse? Maybe by submitting to it together. We must remain open to the vulnerability that is exposed when we lose something. We must remain open to the purification of allowing the Spirit in, the gift of those tears, whatever the Spirit means for you. We must strip away the self and put our trust, our faith in something else. It could be God, it could be the Spirit, it could be science, it could be nature, it could be your son arriving for your grandmother's funeral. But what I would like it to be for everyone here is that we can put that trust in each other. That we can say to each other, oh, you're here, and allow ourselves to break open. I'm asking that you stay open to the grief of the world, that you hold that that loss has made of us. It is heavy, but we are here with you. We are not the first to live through an apocalypse. Evagrius and Butler, all the other thinkers, we have guidance. How we follow will determine on who we are after. Remember, an apocalypse is another type of breaking open. And who we are on the other side is determined on how we act now with each other. Let us grieve. Let us grow. Amen. And gosh darn it, let us sing something. Join in whatever way is comfortable. 10:15, I know I can.
Days we return. I know I can go on. When sorrow fills my soul and burdens make me strong. Those troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, my brother in my soul. Those troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on. Though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know I can go on.
Stay standing, stay standing. We got a couple more changes to the end of service here. Let us turn towards each other. Let us appreciate all who joined together to build this beloved community today. I invite you to either reach out to one another and hold hands or place your hand on your heart. And we will end in singing. We will example it and we'll sing it with just a simple line. We are holy. We are holding one another.
We are holy. We are holding one another.
Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community
The warmth of community
or the fire of commitment.
or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Let's sing together.
We are
We are holy.
We are holding one another.
To look at our community, I will close as Judith closed their essay. For I am confounded by you. For if I am confounded by you, then you are already of me, and I am nowhere without you. I cannot muster the we except by finding the way in which I am tied to you, by trying to translate, by finding that my own language must break up and yield if I am to know you. You are what I gain through this disorientation and loss. This is how the human comes into being again and again as that which we have yet to know. My beloveds, the grief is immense, but so is our hope. Every time we connect with one another, every time we widen the circle and add to the web, we add hope. The world is wailing, and I will be wailing with it as long as I have a voice. They cannot silence all of us. Go in peace. Let us be together in community and coffee. And once more,